Hello, Whimsy Vtex. How are you? We've brought you over to discuss your question about what is the purpose of debating and when is it appropriate to debate. Are you there?
I'm here.
All right. So Zulu, I think that pretty much sums up the question. If you want to just jump right into your thoughts on that.
Sure, can you repeat it? It's basically when is appropriate to debate?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What is?
oh, the question is, what is the purpose of debating, and when should one choose or choose not to? And also specifically, why do you choose to debate people, Liquid Zulu?
Sure. So, a debate in a broader sense would be basically just to exchange ideas and to try and prove who's right and who's wrong, and so on and so forth. Now, for like live debates, which I think is the more interesting angle to this, the reason why I do live debates, or even pre-recorded debates, just public debates, I'll say, is because I'm trying to convince the audience. I'm trying to do Isaiah's job. I'm trying to tear down my opponent and show them to be wrong on every level of analysis and show that I'm right so that people will go, oh, well, I don't want to be like that guy. I don't want to be, having people think that I'm wrong about these things. So I'm going to go with the guy who's right about these things. And, it also just gives me an excellent opportunity to go over the libertarian legal theory in sometimes immense detail. And beyond that, it helps strengthen that theory as well. Because when you're in a debate, you never know which angle somebody's going to come at you from. So you've got to be prepared. You've got to really have it tightly integrated. And maybe somebody comes to you with something, with some sort of objection, which you've actually never heard before. And it's like, okay, well, now I've got to, try and think through this new thing and try and come up with a solution here. Whereas you're not going to get that if you purely read, for instance, libertarian literature. You're not going to get these unique objections that aren't covered by the literature. Because sometimes there are new objections in philosophy, or at least objections where you haven't read that book, where that objection might be brought up. So it's very important to keep the dialogue going, even just purely for that selfish reason, and also because it's a great way to get whatever it is that you're trying to preach out there. You can amass a great big audience doing that, and it's just a brilliant opportunity to show people what you're about. And I will say, like, initially, the reason why I was like, I bet you, I think debating would be a good thing, and this ties in with the getting the audience thing, is like, as a political channel, I was thinking, what are some good ways I could have effectively collaborate with people? When I'm brand new and nobody knows who I am, and nobody's going to collaborate with me on, like, a collaborative endeavor of making an actual video together. Well, I can actually collaborate even with enemies because I can debate them, and then we're making a single product together, even though we're at each other's throats. So I think it's good also just from a YouTube strategy perspective, when you're talking about a politics channel, you have ample opportunities for collaboration. The gaming community, they can collaborate very easily. They can just play a game and say, hey, I'm going to play a game with you, and then you can make a gaming video together. It's very easy. Politics channels, actually similarly easy, but it tends to be those easy collaborations are with enemies, so it's an interesting twist on the standard formula there.
Yeah, if I could add just one thing to that, I think Zulu does naturally a very good job of summarizing that, and I agree with everything you said. I just add that there's also, I think, a question about debating just as a medium, as opposed to other ways that, because I would also ground my, my answer in, it's not, I believe in the righteousness of voluntary society. I'm not going to get anywhere if I'm the only person engaged in voluntarism, but I think there's also a question about, well, is debating really a good medium? Because for some people, debates are like blood sports. There's definitely a lot of debates out there online that are rightfully compared to blood sports. I think there's a new debating channel that's just called Blood Sports. So I think that's the prevailing style. But as long as you can represent your position faithfully, even a purely entertainment sort of approach here is worth doing, because one of the biggest problems I think we face as libertarians is how many issues are purely libertarian issues, and they just, the prevailing, like the common discourse about it doesn't have the libertarian point of view at all. If you are engaged with the kind of conversations that we're engaged with all the time, where we're trying to get the word out there and stuff like that, Zulu, I'm sure you'll agree with me, outside of the internet, a lot of people are just like, what are you talking about? Libertarianism? Like, it's just left versus right. You're crazy. And so everything, not necessarily in the same sense as, all press is good press, but in the same direction as that, it's just a good idea to get these ideas in front of more people, no matter what we're doing, as long as we're not making ourselves look, foolish. I think there certainly is, a way to make libertarianism look bad. So, but I think that maybe covers the whole spectrum. Was there anything else you'd like to ask about that?
In specifically for that, no, those are good answers.
Perfect. I am glad to hear that. Well, if you have any other elaborations on that you'd like, feel free to call back in. We do not have a super long call queue right now. So thanks so much for calling in. We really appreciate it, and I look forward to getting some more questions from you in the future.
All right, thank you.